Mike, where do you kind of feel this team's at as you guys start conference play? And was it a good thing this past weekend to kind of get tested by some teams that maybe a lot of people weren't expecting to, push you guys with it? They did.
Well, yeah, especially that first game against South Dakota. I mean, I think we took them a little bit too lightly and got off to that tough start, and then being down by four runs in the sixth. It was good to see us bounce back and get those runs back and get the win, and of course, prevail. Being tested, you can't practice that. You can't practice the pressure they feel. They're having to pass the bat as opposed to trying to home runs. I think early in the game, we saw the wind, we were trying to lift balls out of the yard and it wasn't working. So we went back to just pass the bat. And that's the kind of mentality we got to have, especially going into conference. We're going to have a lot of tough races and tough games in conference. There's some good teams this year playing pretty good. Baylor's playing real well right now as well. So, obviously Iowa State scored some runs off Oklahoma. Kansas got a win against Oklahoma State. So I like the way the conference is matching up this year. But, we know that we've got to get better defensively, kind of eliminate some of those errors that are happening to us. And we've got to pitch a little more consistently. Still working on that number 3 pitcher. I think O'Leary and Molly have kind of separated themselves from the other 3, but we still need the other 3 to get better so we have some depth.
And then going into the season, did you see this coming from Shannon and Mary? And do you credit that to Steve? Do you credit that to them and just, what their offseason work? I mean, where did this power come from those two?
Well, I think I could always see it with Shannon. You can ask Shannon every preseason meeting we have or postseason meeting I have with Shannon. It's you're All-American, you should be All-American, and this is what you can do. And I think sometimes she has gotten in her own way sometimes, unfortunately. But her ability as a true 5-tool player is there. Everybody can see that effortless power. So I'm just excited for her to especially taking the risk of coming back, spending one more season here, helping her team out. I'm excited for her and what she's doing. Mary's another one that, she has the power, obviously, to hit the numbers. I just don't think the consistency is there with her, but it's just really fun. It's almost like watching the Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa kind of home run race, and just seeing them one up each other. It's really fun and it's exciting for our fans.
Nick, go ahead.
All right. So, when I look at your team, I see a bunch of star kind of veteran players, and then there's a whole slew of young talent. Just to name a few names, you got Colleen Sullivan, Courtney Day, Riley White, JJ Smith. Whitaker's 4th on the team for batting average as a true freshman. Cantu Papelka. What stands out to you with this set of young talent, and what do you think it means for the team's future, in the years to come?
Well, I think that you're going to see our talent level increase as we go forward. I think we've got some exciting players in the pipeline coming in, and that's great. We really want to be at that stage where it's going to be hard for freshmen to start. I think that's a good sign of the program. Right now we have several freshmen getting opportunities, but a few freshmen have the power that Jordan Whitaker's shown already, and to be 4th up there. So, I think it's a sign of the recruiting from Coach Singleton, the work we're doing there in Texas. A lot of our talent's coming from Texas itself. There's a couple from outside, but mostly we're really working on getting the best players in Texas to stay at Texas.
All right, Danny, go ahead.
Mike, before the season started, did you see Mackenzie becoming a top of the half order weapon for y'all and playing the way she's been playing this season?
Do I have to tell you the truth right now? No, I did not. To be honest, and I didn't think we would see it. I think it was one time there we had Camille at second, Parker at short, and Bree Cantu at third. And Coach Singleton and I joked. I said, "Did you think this would be happening in March?" And we said no, but you just never know when some injuries are going to happen. And Parker is making the most of her opportunity. We've always known she's a gifted player. She has nice tools, but it's just, again, it was putting it together in gameplay. And I think it's a situation where she said, do I want to ride the pine or do I want to play? And so she's picked her game up. She's put some more work in, and now she's got a grasp of it. Hopefully she doesn't want to let go. And I just love seeing her at bat right now. I'm excited to see her at bat.
And when you look at this conference, is it still, do you feel it's Oklahoma and everyone battling for second, or do you feel that, a lot of teams can contend for that championship?
Well, until someone beats them, that's the way it is right now. I mean, they've done a remarkable record going forward, but I see the gap closing, between them. Obviously, they're still recruiting some of the highest talent in the country, and what they don't have, they managed to get, through the pipeline, which we're no different either. So, but they are they're still the one that's slightly ahead of everybody else. But we need to take, first of all, a game off them. And we want to see them start to lose some games in conference. And in some ways, I think that's going to be good for our conference, to show that it's not just a one-team dominated conference.
All right, Jake, go ahead.
Mike, Shannon talked about this a little bit, but you're at the point in the season now that you didn't get to last year with COVID stopping you guys before conference play started. Where have you sensed just like that their level of gratitude is at right now, just to be at this stage of the season and playing some really good softball?
Well, I could tell, a few weeks back when I think there was some more issues going on. I think we had some weather delays. That's what it was. Those first couple of weeks, we had some weather issues, and a couple of seniors were in tears because they almost felt like the season wasn't going to happen again. And you don't realize as a coach, I know hopefully I have more seasons ahead of me, but as a senior, that time's come and there's no more seasons, and so you get that finality of it all, and it hits you pretty hard. So I'm seeing the players that are very, very grateful right now to be out there and be able to play the game.
Danny, go ahead.
My last one, Mike, what are your impressions of this Tech team? What have Aaron and Missy kind of accomplished in the circle, and what challenge do you expect over these next 3 days?
Well, I think that's the toughest thing about that team is their two pitchers. They're very tough. They change speeds very well, and if that can be difficult on you. They've got some pretty good numbers, in their and from what they've done this year, and they handled us pretty well last year. I think we only beat them, 2 runs each game, if I'm not mistaken, right, Brian? I think it was 2-0, 2-0, 4-2.
Yep.
So we only scored 6 runs off them in 3 games. So we've got to have a ton of respect for what they're able to do in the circle. So I think, we got to work hard this week on hitting the off-speed pitch. That's their favorite pitch for both of those pitchers. Of course, one's left-handed and one's right-handed, and they command the zone very well.
And to briefly follow up, going back to what you're saying about your number 3, what do you want to see from Courtney, from Riley, from Ari to kind of establish himself as that 3 behind Shay and behind Molly?
Yeah, well, just to making the most of their opportunities. It's kind of like what Parker did. When she got an opportunity to come in, she took it. I don't think either one of those 3 are going to start a series at this point, a series game, but they will have opportunities. I know that we can't pitch, Molly and Shay every single inning of every single weekend. It's just too much. So one of those 3 are going to have to step up with the opportunity they get. We're working really hard, and I like some of the progress we're making in the bullpen right now. I think Riley, from what you guys don't just see her in the bullpen, but she commands the ball very well. Her changeup's excellent. She throws, 68 miles an hour. But unfortunately, when she gets out on the pitching rubber on the mound, she has trouble with her control, not unlike what Grace Green did last year. So, but I think she's getting better. We're putting her out there as many opportunities as we can to practice in those situations, not just in the bullpen, but out on the field facing our hitters, doing better. Working with Courtney Day, I think we figured out a couple of things yesterday in the bullpen. And of course, Ari has really good spin and movement. And it's just a matter of, I can see her going one time through the order kind of type pitcher for us at this moment, almost like a middle reliever for us.
Any other questions for Coach?
Yeah, I got one.
All right.
So you've kind of echoed this mantra throughout the season about bending and not breaking. I mean, it seems kind of straightforward, but for those who aren't like familiar with your coaching style, would you mind elaborating on that a bit?
Yeah, bending means, we can't expect to be perfect. We're going to make some mistakes, and as human beings, we do it. And a lot of times we learn from our mistakes, and, there's a lot of pressure on sometimes. So, when that branch bends a little bit, you don't want it to snap by completely falling off. You got to have some fight back to it, bounce back on it. And so it's the ability to put mistakes behind us. So not to say that they ain't going to happen, but if they do happen, this is the way I get out of this. And the other point I'm referring to is on the scoreboard. We can give up the ones. I mean, I don't know what we're averaging per game on runs, but I think it's around 6, right, Brian?
About 7.8 actually.
7.8. So even there, we give up 1 run per game, we win by 0.8. Now that won't happen, of course, but the point being, if we give up singles, single runs, we give up a home run, we give up a run here, typically we're going to be okay. But it's if we give up the 2s and the 4s like we did against BYU, and some of the other teams there, that we come dangerously close to breaking. In other words, point of no return.
Any other questions? If not, Coach, thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody being on the call today.
Thank you, gentlemen.